Hey, I'm Joshua Guptill, owner of Olive Tree Films here in Rochester, New Hampshire. Welcome back to the No Agenda podcast. We're going to talk marketing, and today we're going to talk about 3 lies you've been telling yourself about your social media marketing. One of the first things we're going to talk about is the belief that being everywhere is better. Being on every platform is better. The more platforms you're on, the more exposure you get, the more you put out there, and the bigger umbrella you have, the better off you are. That's lie number 1 that a lot of social media people are telling themselves. A lot of small business owners who handle their own marketing are telling themselves that lie that, hey, the more places we are, the better. Incorrect. As a matter of fact, you can really damage your brand in a lot of cases if you're not where you should be for several reasons. One is simple demographics. Some people who don't want your message won't be on the platforms that you put your marketing on, especially if you have a good strategic marketing plan. If you've looked it through and you know who your target demographic is, and you're just spreading that content to mediums and platforms where those people aren't, not only are they not seeing you, people who don't want to see you are seeing you. And similar to someone who would come to your home that you didn't want there, your marketing becomes an uninvited guest in someone's online experience. They don't want that, and eventually you can get turned off to that. I will tell you that from personal experience. A lot of you who maybe are seeing this email are seeing it because you've seen previous emails and have wanted to continue to see the content. For every person or every 10 people, or I guess maybe probably every 100 people or so who want to see this content, there'll be somebody who unsubscribes from this content. I never take that personally because to me that means someone who doesn't want to see my information doesn't have to see it, which is great for them. It also means someone who doesn't want to see my information and isn't interested in the service I provide is not someone I'm worried about or having to market to or cater to or gear my marketing towards them. They don't want to see it. So we kind of sever that relationship and go out in peace. They know about me if they need to get in touch down the line. I don't have to worry about them. It's great. So don't be everywhere. Analyze your target demographic, get your target demographic, who's your perfect customer, develop that person or people as it may be, find out where they are and meet them there. That's going to avoid a lot of people getting that resentment towards your brand. The other big thing about that is when you're everywhere, make sure that you're consistent. And we talk about consistent posting as in quality posting. Consistent doesn't mean just barraging. It doesn't mean consistent means the level of posting that makes sense for your target audience. You'll kind of gauge that as you go. Most people are not hungry for your content every single day. And a lot of times what happens with the consistency part is people neglect their social media for a long time. They'll take a week off, they'll take a month off, they'll take a couple months off. Then they're back with a vengeance and telling everybody, hey guys, we've been away, but now we're doing this. Terrible idea, and here's why. The over-posting, it hurts you because people become desensitized to it, and in some cases, again, even if you're on the right platform, they become turned off to it. The other downside to that inconsistent posting is it looks bad for your business. It looks like you have so much going on, you can't handle this aspect of it, then you come back and there's all this talk about what you're gonna do, and then you're gone again. And you come back, and people just want consistency. They want to be able to know when you're going to post, how frequently, what type of stuff, and that's going to determine whether or not they look for it. I mean, that's how we determine things in our own personal online experience. I know on YouTube I have certain channels I subscribe to, and if it's been a couple of weeks and they haven't posted, I'll kind of go elsewhere for that content because I'm engaged in it. I want to see what they have, but if they're not giving me what I need, I'll go elsewhere for it. Same with your content. It doesn't have to be this giant barrage. You have to find a consistency that works for your audience, and you'll find that through a little bit of trial and error. My suggestion is if you're posting 2 to 3 times a week, different types of content, start there. And when I say different types of content, I mean like for this. I am not going to post 3 of these podcasts a week. It's too much content, too much information. No one's going to want. I wouldn't want to watch that, and I'm in it. You want to find out what that mix is of photo, video, text. Be it promotional versus the intimate backstory of the business, whatever it may be. Mix that content up, break it down 2 to 3 times a week, and short versus long. Post some reels versus some long form videos on your different platforms if those platforms make sense to post on. And watch the reaction. If you see that your short form early in the week is getting a ton of views, your long form late in the week isn't. Okay, maybe we don't need that long form weekly. Maybe we space that out. Does it get better if we do it every other week? Does it get better if we're doing it monthly? Does the short form retain or even grow if we jump up to a second short form midweek? If you start to see a significant dip and people only like the first one, you can always obviously look at times of day you're posting. But if you see it that the dip isn't coming back and isn't responding to the tweaks that you make, it might be that twice is too much. If you see that the first one gets a little bit, the second one gets a lot more, introduce a third one and kind of find that saturation point where people start to get to the point, I don't want to say they're turned off by it, but they kind of go, okay, that's enough. I've seen enough of that this week or today, and I want to see less for a little bit, and then and that's how you want to get your consistency. Consistency is not a simple, you need to post daily, you need to post twice a week, you need to post weekly. You need to address your audience. You need to give your audience what they want and what they need, and that's your consistency. You find that sweet spot, that's when you post, that's how you post, that's how frequently, that's the type of content. You don't need to be everywhere, and you don't need to have these giant times off. There's no reason for it, and then come rushing back with all this content and then give this false hope that you're going to be posting all the time, then you go away again because you can't maintain that pace. This is one of the biggest problems I see with businesses, is that they try to be everywhere, they can't be everywhere, and then they just kind of fail miserably and they go away. So the first lie you may be telling yourself as a social media marketer is, I need to be everywhere, and I need to post constantly with no real feel for when. This leads us into our second lie that you're telling yourself. The second lie that marketers are telling themselves is, this leads into our second lie that you might be telling yourself as a social media marketer, and that lie is, more followers equals more success. If I'm generating followers, I'm doing great social media marketing. This is what I want to do. Not true. That's another lie that you're telling yourself. If you're telling yourself that followers equals success solely, the more followers you have, the more success you are having with your marketing, inaccurate. What you want are qualified followers. What you want are followers, not people who like your page. And there's a difference. A follower is somebody who is actively involved in wanting to see what you have to say, wanting to see your products or services, and there is a chance that they will then commit to purchasing those products or services. That's an engaged person. That's a follower of your business. A liked page is one of the ones where you click like because someone says such and such invited you to like, and you go, oh yeah, okay, like. And then it shows you all their stuff and you go, okay, yeah, I'm not really interested in this. And then you scroll it and you scroll it and you scroll it, and Facebook starts to go, okay, they don't want to see this in their feed. So instead of every day, Facebook shows it to you twice a week. You're still scrolling through, you're not commenting, you're not liking, you're not sharing anymore. You've just liked the page, but you're not really invested, you're not following the page. Sooner or later, Facebook's algorithm kind of goes, oh, you don't want to see this at all. Okay, we're just not going to show this. You still like the page, but you don't care about the content. Facebook isn't showing you the content, so even when there is content, you're not seeing it. On the business owner side, we look at this and go, we have 10,000 followers. Right. You have 10,000 people who liked your page. Out of that, are 100 followers, are 200 followers, because you can get by with that. You just can't be fooled into this lie that the more followers I have, the better I'm doing. Now, here's the argument for that. In theory, if 1 of every 10 likes you get is a follower, then sure, the more likes you get, in theory, the more followers you will have percentage-wise. The goal, though, is to not necessarily grow the number of likes, it's to grow the number of followers within the number of likes to a bigger ratio, so that instead of 1 out of every 10 people who like the page being a dedicated follower, you want to position your content and create content where maybe 4 or even 5 out of every likes now are followers. Now they'll be harder to come by, so your likes may not grow as quickly because you might not be throwing up pictures of the kids anymore, pictures of the pets, pictures of the vacation, stuff that's just going to generate those kind of sexy metrics that don't mean anything, those beach muscle metrics. Likes, great, those don't matter. Comments, that's a useful metric. Sharing, that's a useful metric. Actual engagement, like the heart, the smiley face. We said it last time, go and try and pay your electric bill and go, I've got 100 smiley faces on this picture of my dog and I'd like to trade that. It doesn't work that way. In the same way, we wouldn't accept that as currency for our product or service. Avoid the sexy metrics, avoid worrying about the page likes, worry about engagement. Are people commenting on the things that you post? Are people sharing the things that you post? Are you able to use this marketing to start conversations, to invest people to follow, not just like? If you're not, then you're kind of tricking yourself into thinking, I have a lot of likes here, and that means I'm doing well with my social media marketing. You can have very few page likes and follows, but if they're engaged and they want to know what you have to say, grow with them. Think about it realistically. You have 10,000 people, 10,000 likes on your page. Maybe you bought some through Facebook and they gave you a bunch of bots and people that don't really exist, and and the things they can do with AI is insane. You can have people you really think are invested. They don't exist. Those people don't exist. If you're making real connections, you'll know that, and you'll slowly grow it out, and you'll see that in your traffic. You'll see that in real tangible sales, and that's why we're doing the marketing. So don't lie to yourself. Don't be fooled into thinking that more followers means more success. It's more actual followers who are engaged and not likes that are going to build that business for you. And the third lie you might be telling yourself as a social media marketer, and this is the most painful one for a lot of us, the lie that social media marketing is free, that's why we do it, because it's free. Some of it is, and its value is proportionate to how much you're paying for it, in the same way that if you walked out on the street in front of your business and just yelled, "I'm open, I sell this, I do this," it's free. It's technically marketing. You're making people aware of what you're doing. Would you ever consider that to be the most effective way that you would market your business? Probably not. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody somewhere right now who's going, "That's what we do, and we've been open for 75 years. All right, saloon owner Joe. I'm talking about, right now in today's world, does it make the most sense to just kind of throw that stuff out there and go, "It's free. This is social media marketing." Good social media marketing has a cost. Now, that's not an agenda to say, pay me to do it, although that is the field I'm in and what I do. When I say a cost, that cost could be your time. That cost might be, a paid ad. That cost might be the equipment to make your advertising that you are doing, even if you're doing it in-house, look better. But it's not free, and if it is, it's not as effective as you think. You're not appealing to the people you need to appeal to. Now, there are great free ways that you can social media market. You can be part of groups. You can start discussions there. But most groups that are free to be in, most Facebook groups, most LinkedIn groups, are not designed for you to just hammer your advertising. You can position yourself as a bit of an industry expert. You can be part of discussions. You can make those connections that may eventually lead to business. That is free and that's organic. Is it quick? No, it's not. Is it something that's always going to work? No, because a lot of groups, they will throw you out if you just start hammering, "Hey, I got this. And the ones that don't, the groups that I'm in that have, Marketing Monday, "Hey, everybody post your stuff you have." I can honestly tell you, and this is me, maybe you've had a different experience, I have never once in the hundred of comments of people just posting their own stuff, looked at somebody else and go, "Oh, I'd like to purchase that." Everybody's in there just posting their stuff in a vacuum. Most people aren't even looking at the other comments. There'll be 130 businesses that posted their stuff on Marketing Monday. Did you stop and look at the other 129? Did you invest in those because they posted there? If you didn't, chances are they didn't, and they scrolled past you like you scrolled past them, and you're just marketing into this vacuum that's not going to give you any benefit. Good social media marketing has a cost. Now, when you work with a marketer, if you decide you're going to outsource, you're going to go to somebody and bring somebody into market, a couple things to consider, because again, here we're talking about that lie you've been telling yourself that good social media marketing is free. I post on Facebook every day. I'm doing my job. I'm a social media marketer. No. When you go to deal with somebody, here are some things to look for. Have a budget in mind. We talked in our last podcast about return on investment. Have a budget in mind. If your budget is $100 a month, okay, awesome. You should look to generate $300 a month. Well, if you sell origami, that might be awesome. If you sell cars, that sucks. That's not a steering wheel. So your budget, if you're going to market, needs to be able to generate a return on investment that makes sense for your business. If you're looking to generate $3,000 in new sales in a month, you're going to want to invest $1,000 in that. If you don't think those numbers make sense, and if that sounds big and scary to you, okay, but that's the truth. To sit there and dance around it, and a lot of times I'll deal with, especially with restaurants and food places, they always seem to have somebody. They got somebody on their staff who they're a whiz with that social media. They go, your lack of understanding is positioning you for the emperor's new clothes. And what I mean by that is, if you're a business owner and you have identified someone on your staff, they're a whiz with the Instagram, and I don't do all that stuff, but they're great with it because they're always on their phone. That's like me saying I always watch TV, so Hollywood should hire me to direct Star Wars. One does not equate to the other. Vet the person you're bringing in. There's a very good chance the person who's on your staff, who's a social media marketing whiz and willing to do it for free is not going to do a good job for you. It's just the way that it works. When you deal with a company, have a budget in mind. Talk to them about return on investment, and they should be able to show you, here's what I'm going to create for your budget, and here's where we're going to place it, and here's how we're going to generate return on investment. I'm going to take your $100. This is what I'm going to do with it. Not much. But if it's $100, $100, do what you can with it. And then, and side note, off of the side note, if your budget is $100 and you go to somebody and they say, we can't do anything for that, believe them. Don't go, well, could you just do the good? Anyone who's willing to soften that price and come down a little bit without a good reason. Now, I've softened price before, but I've softened price if it's someone where I go, man, they're in an industry where I don't have a video for that, or I've never worked in that, and I'd like to, work with a landscaper or a tree service, and I don't have that. I'll come down on price a little bit for that because that's benefiting me. Social media marketing for me isn't free. So if I can get a video in an industry that I don't have, that's a win for me. And so you can soften price a little bit. Beware of the marketer who sets a price and you go, no, and they go, well, I could do it for half. Well, why wouldn't you have done it for half to begin with? All you're looking for is that 3-time return on investment. Put a budget together based on what you want to make. Talk to somebody who can make that happen and let them explain to you how their content and the placement of that content is going to be able to net you that 300% return on investment. It may not be in the first month, and that's okay. If they tell you it's going to take a quarter and then you'll see it, if you are willing to do that, do that. But make sure you're doing that. And if they can't explain it to you, if they can't talk to you about placement, if they can't talk to you about return on investment, if they can't talk to you about target demographics, you're not dealing with a marketer, you're dealing with a social media user at that point. You're dealing with someone who's familiar with how to post. If that's what you want, that's fine, but you need to scale down your expectation. Someone who's willing to post, someone who's on your staff, who's always on their phone and they love to be on TikTok and they put the dog filter on their face and stuff, that's great. If that is the extent of their knowledge and you're paying them or you're having them handle your marketing, you're not marketing, you're posting, and there's a difference. If you want to have somebody handle your posting, awesome. Don't put the burden on them of expecting that return on investment because it's not going to happen. If it does, it's going to be lightning in a bottle and it's going to go away and you won't know how you did it and you won't know how to replicate it. That's the rub there when you're trying to create these viral moments. Smart marketing creates those moments. Otherwise, it's lightning in a bottle. I've known guys in fields that I've worked in, especially in stand-up comedy, who they've had their little viral video. They had a little video. You wouldn't know them if I mentioned it because their week of fame is up and there's been nothing to sustain. It was just that little viral moment and they're done. You don't want that. You don't want to post, you want to market. So if you're lying to yourself that good social media marketing is free, stop lying to yourself. Make an investment, figure out a budget that's based on your desired return on investment, which should be a minimum of 300%. From there, divide by 3, get your budget, and then when you approach your marketing, you have a budget in mind, which is great because you have a hard cap on them to be able to say, I want to spend this much and here's what I'd like to accomplish, tell me how I can do that. A good marketer can sit with you and not only tell you, but show you how they're going to do that and illustrate that path to that return on investment. If they can't, you're wasting your money and you may as well just post for free because you're not going to get anything out of it. Then you'll be disappointed and turn around and go, well, marketing doesn't work. We tried. Okay, well, be smart when you try. If you try with a good marketer and it doesn't work, that's one thing. If you're just throwing money at the wind and expecting a result and not getting it, that's kind of on you. All right? I'm giving you the tools now to not do that. So I'd say don't do that. Be smart about it. So it's your money.